Winds whipping trees down, power outages scattered throughout southern and central Maine. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight for News 13 at 6. I'm Adrienne Stein.
Just nasty out there, huh? And I'm Jeff Peterson. Kim and Greg are off tonight. We will have much more on the current power outages in just a moment. But first, we want to get right to Charlie LaPresse with more on the track of the storm. He joins us live outside with more out in the wild weather. Huh, Charlie?
Jeff, you know, you'd actually never know that we had a storm out here today. The conditions have really quieted down here in Portland. We're standing outside of our studios in Portland right now, where the wind is almost calm for a change. We had a peak wind gust of 55 miles per hour this afternoon. Let's take a look at the maps, and we'll start out with the Doppler HD. Notice that pencil-thin line that moves across the mid-coast and right up into central Maine. That line marks the end of the heavy rain and the strong wind. It's moving through Booth Bay Harbor, about ready to move into the Damariscotta and Waldoboro area right now. Richmond, Augusta, you're getting into it as we speak. Winthrop, you're into it as well, heading north up into the Farmington area. As soon as that line moves through, you will notice the improving weather rather quickly. In fact, the rain comes to an end and the wind really shuts off. In fact, we're not even gusting in Portland right now. Winds are so light, you're gusting to 17 down in Sanford. Notice ahead of that line, though, you're still gusting over 40 miles per hour. Wiscasset, Rockland, Augusta, you know what I mean. Lewiston, you just had that line move through about 15 minutes ago. Some of the peak wind gusts today, areas just offshore, Matinicus Rock, Isles of Shoals, close to 70 miles per hour at 6,000 feet in elevation, over 100 miles per hour up in Mount Washington. Again, Portland had a peak gust of 50 miles per hour, 54 down in Portsmouth, 58. Tomorrow will be a better day, clouds and a little bit of sun, chance for a rain or snow shower, temps still mild near 40. Sunday looks quite a bit colder and breezy, highs around the freezing mark. Now, Jeff and Adrian, our weather can't get much worse than today, but we do have the chance for another storm in the 7-day forecast. That second storm, maybe snow finally. I'll be back to talk more about that in a few.
All right, Charlie, thanks so much. You know, thousands of Mainers remain in the dark at this hour.
That's right. Right now, Cumberland and York counties are by far the hardest hit when it comes to power outages. There are more than 16,000 outages in Cumberland County. In York County, that number is just about 11,000. Statewide, the outage number stands at just over 36,000 customers.
News 13's Marissa Bodner is in Falmouth for us live tonight. And Marissa, have the winds calmed down where you are?
Oh, yeah, I tell you, what a difference an hour makes. It's really not so bad out here right now. And some good news in Falmouth, at least where we are in this area, the lights are back on. You can see behind me, traffic is moving as normal. This is the intersection at Route 1 and Depot Road. It was shut down earlier. Traffic was moving pretty slowly when the power was out. However, that said, Central Maine Power still reporting more than 36,000 without power. Now, this shopping plaza in Falmouth was dark from 3:30 till about 5:15 this afternoon. Some hoping to do their final Christmas shopping peered in windows and pulled locked doors before turning around. Bruschetta's restaurant closed down. Signs told customers to come back when the lights are on. Managers say shutting down for even a few hours is bad for business. People I talked to say this doesn't feel like December.
Oh, it's crazy. It kind of scares me a little bit. You know, it should be snowing right now, and it should be colder, and I should not be pouring. You know, it shouldn't be pouring and wet. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe January, February, we'll get some snow.
I think it's bizarre. It feels very terrifying, actually, because we haven't seen the sun, I feel like, all day.
End of the world, maybe.
I actually called home to Minnesota to say, how's the weather there? Because I'm a little worried.
So some speculation there about this crazy weather on the apparent end of the world. But again, things really not so bad out here. They've really calmed down for the most part. Live in Falmouth, I'm Marissa Bodner for News 13. Back to you.
Well, just into our newsroom tonight, part of Main Street in Lewiston is closed right now after a water main broke and part of the road caved in. Police say the stretch between Fry Street and Russell Street is closed, and police are detouring traffic. No one was hurt and no cars are damaged. Public Works crews are still on the scene.
The NRA is speaking out today, 1 week after the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. They're calling for an armed guard at every school in the country.
We can immediately make America's schools safer, relying on the brave men and women in America's police forces. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Well, that was the NRA's Wayne LaPierre speaking this afternoon on the issue of guns in our schools.
In Maine, gun advocates are supporting talks of guns in our schools, while education officials are speaking out against such a move. News 13's Steve Roldan explains.
Guns in the hands of school teachers, a topic of debate here in the state of Maine in the fight to keep our kids safe in schools. Gun right advocates here in the state calling the NRA's suggestion that an armed police officer be assigned to each and every school a good start. But they take it a step further, saying a good plan involves arming teachers and staff with guns.
Firearms are really the only defense against another firearm in the hands of bad guys.
Jeff Weinstein is with the Maine Gun Owners Association, saying arming teachers and school staff is the best line of defense if a gunman enters a school. And state educators are not buying that.
Had someone had a gun, would they have been able to stop someone with an assault rifle? I doubt that a handgun is going to be able to stop someone with a semi-automatic assault rifle.
Education officials here in Maine say improving school safety doesn't involve arming teachers. They say a better approach involves improving mental health services to those who need help, greater focus on bullying prevention, and action to decrease gun violence.
Schools aren't an appropriate place to have weapons.
The State Department of Education is calling on schools statewide to revisit security policies and practices. And when it comes to guns in the school,
there's going to be a lot of discussion at the local, state, and national level about a lot of things, and we certainly are going to listen to all of that. And really, we turn, you know, if law enforcement and first responders tell us that something is important to look at, we're going to look at that.
A look at any possible plans to enhance security in Maine schools. In Augusta, Steve Roldan, News 13.
Bells ring out across the country today in remembrance of the victims of the Sandy Hook shooting. In Portland, the bells at churches across the city rang in remembrance of the victims. The bells tolled 26 times, one for each of the victims. Connecticut Governor Daniel Malloy asked places of worship and government buildings to ring the bells.
Well, going from your car to the house in pouring rain like tonight is a pain.
Yeah, but imagine not having a home for hundreds of Mainers. That is the reality. Tonight, one group is raising awareness about homelessness and honoring those who've died. Our Catherine Underwood joins us live from Portland with more on that. Catherine?
Well, it is so tough to imagine that there are folks who can't just run into their home to get out of the rain, especially an hour and a half ago when the wind was whipping around here. The Christmas tree in Monument Square was dancing all about. The rain was soaking us, and so many people just don't have anywhere to go to get out of this kind of weather. And so they turn to the shelters in Portland, and we're told those shelters are just overflowing. So tonight, it's an effort to change all of that. A group of people braved the weather and stood outside in the pouring rain, honoring those who do it every day and every night. They lit candles for the more than 30 homeless people who have died in the city over the past year. The associate director at the Preble Street Resource Center tells us more people sought shelter this year than ever before. He told us on any given night, upwards of 400 people could be looking for a place to stay. He says the city is working to get more housing vouchers and sending case management teams into the shelters.
You know, and the numbers of homeless people in the shelters and stuff is rising and rising. And there are people today that need help, but the help has to be wider, has to be systematic.
People are homeless in this weather. They're homeless all winter. There are people with a crowded shelter who are struggling even to want to be inside because of the crowds. So this weather really represents what people deal with. And yeah, we're not totally sorry that it's raining and that it's miserable, because it is miserable being homeless.
Now, Bradley tells us it used to be that during the holiday season, the shelters would clear out a little bit because people would be staying with friends and family, but he says that is not the case anymore. Last year, 15 children spent Christmas at the Preble Street shelter. He expects this year that number will be the same or more, but he is hopeful that 2013 will bring some change. We're live in Portland tonight. Catherine Underwood, News 13.
That's a tough statistic to hear about the children. All right, Catherine, thank you for that reminder.
Well, we have an update tonight on the Kennebunk prostitution case. Today, a woman joins her husband on the client list. She also becomes the first woman charged in this case. 64 men are already charged with engaging a prostitute in the case. Police say the woman's husband was charged back in October with being a client of Alexis Wright. 29-year-old Alexis Wright has pleaded not guilty to 106 counts, including prostitution, invasion of privacy, tax evasion, and other charges. Her business partner also has pleaded not guilty.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Charlie DePresti.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Our weather is slowly improving. Those of you across the mid-coast, eastern parts of our viewing area, northern areas, you're saying, Charlie, no way. We still have the rain. We still have the heavy, strong wind. Southern areas, really no wind at all. Behind that pencil-thin line of heavy rain, our weather is starting to subside. Our winds are starting to subside, I should say. It's that line right in here. It's moving through, the Booth Bay Harbor region. This extends north almost up to Augusta right now. Let's zoom right up there. Basically, east of that line, that's where we're seeing the strongest winds, and it was right east of that line that we had our peak wind gusts in Portland of 54 miles per hour late this afternoon. There's Augusta. Actually, you are in the heavy rainfall right now. Give it another 10-15 minutes. You will see marked improvement. In fact, those of you in Lewiston, you know what I'm talking about. The wind has really started to die off there. Same in Brunswick. This line extends right up into southern Franklin County, heading over to the Farmington region. Again, east or west of this, I should say, we're starting to see some improvement. Notice how it stopped raining, and really there's no wind at all now here in Portland. In fact, we're not even gusting right now. Augusta, you are still gusting to 45 miles per hour, same in Rockland. Again, east of that line, that's where we still have the strongest winds. Notice winds still gusting 15 to 25 miles per hour on the west side of that line right there. It's basically a little occluded front that's moving through. Peak wind gusts today. No real surprise with Mount Washington, right? 6,000 feet in elevation, 137 miles per hour. That's cheating, though. They're 6,000 feet in elevation. Matinicus Rock just offshore, 72 miles per hour. Same in Isles of Shoals, around 70. Portsmouth gusting near 60 miles per hour. In Portland at the Jetport, peak gusts 54 miles per hour. So we got those power outages as anticipated. Rochester over in New Hampshire, 52. Cape Nettic close to 50 miles per hour. Rockland at last check was 47 miles per hour. We may have to up that this hour. Again, they're still in some very strong winds. Same in Wiscasset, 47. And Augusta, within the last hour, you had a peak wind gust of 53 miles per hour. Again, that wind is starting to subside by about 8 o'clock tonight. We're starting to see some improvement. Heaviest rainfall and strongest wind is drifting off to the north. Saturday will be a better day, but far from perfect. More clouds than sun is expected. Temps start in the 30s, and there is the chance for a rain or snow shower, particularly during the afternoon. Notice temps around 40 degrees for a high temperature, which is still seasonably mild. As we go through our Sunday, we'll start to see the colder air invade. In fact, skies will become mostly sunny that day, and cooler temps will make an appearance. Highs struggle to get much above the freezing mark, but wind chills will likely stay in the 20s. In fact, teens and 20s for wind chills on Sunday. Christmas Eve day, we're in great shape. Sunny skies that day. Our next storm system, it should be a fairly weak one. It may come close enough to clip us with some light snow or snow showers on Christmas Day. That'll be nice, right? That's not our strongest storm in the 7-day forecast, though. Wednesday night and Thursday, we could see a more significant snowstorm heading our way. Right now, that's our best chance to see a plowable snow in the 7-day. And yes, I'm talking snow. We're going to get rid of this nonsense of what we had today, the rain and the wind, and we'll introduce more of a wintry scene in this longer range forecast, finally, right?
Yeah, hardly felt like December.
I know. What a lousy day.
What a crazy day to start the first day of winter, huh?
I know. It really was. 50 degrees.
Yeah, Mother Nature playing a goof on us with winter solstice, huh?
Surely.